everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back. It's time again for another edition of the Weekly Member Spotlight. I am very excited to sit down today with a new friend, someone who actually works at the site level, which I love talking to, our hardworking front line. So today, without further ado, our guest is Bria Million, and Bria is the leasing manager at Centennial Station, which is a North American Properties community here in Cincinnati. So Bria, welcome to the interview.
Thank you. Hi, I'm so happy to be here with you today.
I forget how we got connected. Did someone from our social media committee nominate you to do the interview?
I bet it was. It was probably James, which we're kind of interconnected in a lot of ways. He oversaw my CALP training too. I think that's the first time we met in person. So yeah,
great.
Thank you, James.
So James is our staff liaison for the GCNKAA.
Yes.
Well, I love this this new scheduling system we have going on with the social media committee, because oftentimes I am meeting the person that we're interviewing for the very first time the morning that we're interviewing. So that's exactly what's happening with Bria, and I'm excited to get to know you a little bit. I'd like to just ask you, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the industry and what you do at Centennial.
Yeah. Well, hello, my name is Bria. I've been with Centennial Station here coming on 2 years. I cannot believe it. Time is flying so quickly. In the industry overall, I've been involved for about 5. I got started in college actually as a part-time job because my mom told me to. And my mom is actually Janet Million, so she's got a pretty big presence here.
So I know her and I know Sandy and all the things.
Yep, my mom and my mom's mom, and I swore my whole life I would not be here, but look, I'm here now. So I love it every day. I love carrying on that legacy for her, and I also love meeting new faces. And making an impact here. It's really cool. I love leasing. The job I have right now is pretty all-encompassing. So I've grown a lot in the role that I'm at currently. Before it was just kind of executing the contracts and overseeing the leasing process. And now I've kind of trickled into overseeing resident events and doing our marketing and the flyers and our surveys for the community too. So it's pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am floored because I also got into the industry because of a relative. My aunt was in the industry and I went to work with her one day and I started working.
There you go.
But yeah, and obviously, Sandy for my whole entire career with Village Green has been just a staple.
Yeah.
And so
she's actually coming back. I don't know if she's news. But she works actually down the street at my competitor, so I love some friendly competition.
Well, that's so awesome. It's this industry. I mean, it's already just a small world, but this industry makes it so much smaller. Well, that is very, very cool. Having been in this industry yourself for 5 years and knowing, probably hearing all the crazy stories that you've heard, because your family has been in the business. What's a memorable story about something that's just absolutely insane that's happened?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I feel like this year alone, we've had a bunch of crazy stories. I feel like,
and they're not all crazy. Some people have this is the best thing that ever happened, or this was the apartment that I rented that meant the most.
Yeah. I will say one memorable story that I had was actually, relatively recent on into joining Centennial Station. There was somebody that came here wanting to lease an apartment who actually knew my mom. And I think I had actually met them too when I was a kid, because I grew up at the properties that my mom managed. So it was really cool to reconnect with them. But we, after talking for a while, found out that they actually had given her a gift that I still have with me. And I wrap my hair with it sometimes. It's this really beautiful scarf from the country that they're from. And I got to learn a lot more about that culture. And they ended up moving in too. So it was kind of full circle in that way. And that was early on here too. So I was getting used to being here and kind of establishing myself and making new connections. So that and I think they're still here. Yeah, they haven't moved out yet. So, so cool. It's really nice. It was my first time here creating a lasting impression that still goes today.
I love that. And I have one of those residents, someone that I rented an apartment to 20 years ago now, and they still live at the property. We don't manage it. We haven't managed it in probably 18 years, but I still stay connected. And it's when people are moving, it's such an important time in their life. It's so easy to get connected to people when they need you. And you're sharing such an important time.
Yeah.
What is it that you love so much about being in the industry, Bria?
I think that that's what I love about it. The people that you meet and the way that you can really help people.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it's really easy to just kind of like clock in and clock out and make it your 9 to 5. But we're on site here, you see these people every day. And so you hear their stories and you'll hear like one person I moved in, she was pregnant when she moved in and now her kids too. And I get to watch her child grow and you get to grow with these people too. So if you take the time to really connect, you create those lasting relationships that go on with you. And that wasn't something that I anticipated coming into this, but it's one of the most important things now that I carry with me.
So what did you think as you were preparing to like, get into the workforce? What did you want to be when you grew up, or what were you planning to do?
Ooh,
Or you
man.
accidentally got into this business?
Man, my parents have been asking me that. I think they asked me that last week.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Like this was a job that I took kind of part-time and then fell in love with it and never stopped. But I actually studied international business and marketing
Okay.
and business French. So when I started college, I think like a lot of people, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just kind of went in and rode the wave.
Yeah.
So I like that I got to dip my toes in this industry, despite like saying my whole life, I'll never be like my mom or my
Yeah.
grandma, because it's actually really cool. So I think that now having this experience, being in real estate is what I would want to do too. My apologies. Give me one.
No problem.
I'll mute that real quick.
No problem.
Okay. Oh my goodness. We just got new phones and it's all strange.
No problem at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, what are some challenges that you've seen since you've been in the industry that have kind of crept up and, just changed the way we do things or changed the way we need to do things over the last few years?
So sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
So over the past few years, I think especially with the bulk of my career being during COVID, the rise of digital leasing in that
Mhm.
process and people kind of now relying on that, not so much more wanting to come in for a tour or pick up the phone, like everything is in an email or a virtual interview or a virtual call. And so
Right.
adapting to that, as well as learning how you can still make yourself an important part of that tool, because
Right.
going with how the future is going to go, I think everything's going to become pretty autonomous here soon.
Yeah.
So figuring out how to adapt with the industry at this time is unprecedented.
Mhm.
So it's a challenge that I'm still figuring out how to deal with.
Yeah. And, speaking from someone that's been in the industry my entire life and for, a couple of decades now, it's unbelievable how the technology has changed. And specifically in the last just few years, like how much technology. And I go to like the annual Apartmentalized conference with the NAA and all of that. And every single thing is about technology. And right now it's about AI and all the,
Yeah.
so that's a great point. It's definitely something that our industry, and it makes me proud to know, I feel like we're kind of at the forefront of technology, because
Yeah.
where people live, it's like, it's so very important. And all the things that are, technologically advanced in other industries, they naturally fall into what we do, like with the smart apartments with smart thermostats and
Right.
keyless entry and stuff like that. I'm like, we're gonna have retina scans next thing you know.
Right, exactly. It's really cool to see it too in this industry as well. I'm going to unplug this. Give me
No,
just
it's
1
totally
second.
fine.
I swear to goodness. Uh, whoa, I'm thoroughly unprepared. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. This is what we do, right?
Okay, we adapt.
That's right.
Okay, that should be completely off. If it rings, I would be surprised because I've unplugged every possible.
No,
Yes, my apologies.
no. Well, the next thing that I was going to ask, kind of in that same vein, is what would you like to see our industry kind of get a hold of and work on changing or improving or implementing? Unmute real quick. There you go. Are you
And
there?
today is just not my day, I guess.
No worries. It's okay. This is what we do. We adjust. So
Okay.
you're back.
So
What,
yeah, where
so,
did it cut off?
so I asked, what would be something you want our industry to focus on or implement or,
Yeah,
create to make it better?
I think focusing more on investing and training in making the process more personal to kind of combat the way that we're moving and this impersonal, like AI generated kind of and really elaborate kind of telecall
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
If we can really reinvest in that training to have that person on site be empathetic and compassionate and get to know who they're working with day to day. I think that as a salesperson, as a leasing consultant, learning that has helped me a lot perfect my craft. And it's also helped me appreciate my job a lot more.
Mhm.
And a pain point I've heard from prospects coming in is that they feel like it's impersonal and they gravitate towards this community in particular because of that first
Mhm.
impression. So if we got back to that and kind of brought it back to the roots in a way and re-implemented that in this way that we're going in the future, I think that would be revolutionary.
Agreed. And it's a balance because there are times even like, I don't want to talk to people when I go get a rental car, for example. Like, I just want, show me which aisle, give me the keys. Like, I don't need the whole song and dance and all the things. But then I'm like, you know what, when I do need someone, I need someone. So I appreciate the having, systems to make things easier for people who are doing something they do all the time. But when it comes to, especially renting a home and
Yeah,
buying your place of residence for the next year, like you just need human connection for that.
absolutely.
All right. Well, before we move on into the personal questions, which is my favorite part of the interview, just to get to know people a little bit more. Last question that I would like to ask from a business perspective is, what kind of advice or perspective would you offer up to people who are just getting into the industry?
Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions of people that you might be afraid to ask questions of, like not just your colleagues and your peers, but ask a property manager, or maybe if you're on the site level and you're with a multi-site company, feel free to reach out, connect with people on LinkedIn. Realize now that your network is your net worth. And so as soon as you start investing in that and really taking time to put care into your connections, the sooner you'll be able to capitalize that on the future. So if you want to grow, then invest in that now and plant those seeds now.
Great advice. Absolutely great advice. And again, this industry is so small. You've heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, like with movies. It's way less than that. It's like 3 degrees of people
Right.
in this business that know someone who knows someone who
You
knows.
know my grandma.
I know, right?
Right.
And your mom. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. So funny. And again, such a small industry. And what I love about the GCNKAA is there is no shortage of opportunities, whether it's through education, whether it's just through events or through some of the, the bigger things that we do, like the trade show is a great place to network and business exchange and all of that. So we are recording this. I don't know exactly when this is going to air our interview, but like our next event is the B&B Riverboat Cruise next week. And like, that's a great place to, just go and, hey, you're captive on a boat. You had nothing to do but network.
Yeah. What is anybody else going to do? You kind of have to talk. And it's great. The sooner you get comfortable, the sooner you're going to get used to it and the better you'll be off.
All right, well, let's shift gears because I want to get to know a little bit more about you as a human, not in the apartment business, but just as a human being. So first, tell us about your family. You already talked about your mom and your grandmother, but anything else about your family that you'd like to share?
Yes. So on my mom's side, we've already touched on that. On my dad's side, I guess I'm just the overall family. My younger sister, Bianca, I recently did a post with the Apartment Association with our chapter on autism awareness for April. So I got the chance to highlight that on that platform, and it was so cool. But growing up with her has been such a unique experience and also helped me to empathize with people that are of all walks of life. And it's interesting because my whole family, we really grew up with North American. Like I was born in the hospital across the street from Old Montgomery, another sister
Yep.
property, and then grew up there
Bethesda
pretty much
North.
my whole life. Yeah. And now I'm here.
Aw,
So I love it here. I love the people that I've met as well. But yeah, that's my family. We're all pretty close knit here.
I love that. What's one of your favorite things to do when you're not working, a hobby or a pastime?
Ooh, I love just getting curious. I love going down rabbit holes on any platform, TikTok usually, but just like finding something and then doing crazy research on it. Like recently, I got so into clouds and learned all the cloud types like
Cool.
cumulonimbus and cumulus and stratus and the different, and
Wow.
it's just like random information. I love filing that in a cabinet and then pulling it up in an icebreaker someday.
That's very cool. I love
Yeah.
that. I was reading it was like a post, a targeted post or something on Instagram. And it's like, there are so many ways for you to get like the same education that you would get with like a college degree, a master's degree, whatever,
Right.
if you know
Yeah.
the right places on the internet to go like find the information. So
Absorbing knowledge is so cool. That's
yeah.
why my head's so big.
Well, if you are a lifelong learner, it sounds like, are you a reader or a podcast listener? And if so, what's a great book or podcast that you would recommend?
Yes, I am kind of both. I'm getting back into podcasts. I actually tried recording a podcast with my dad recently, but both of us, the apple does not fall far from the tree. So we're hitting a pause on that, but look out for it maybe one day in the future.
Yeah.
In terms of books, right now, I've been getting kind of spiritual. And so I'm reading a book called Conversations with God. And it's pretty cool. It's really important, I think, right now. My dad always talked about taking care of all the spokes on your wheel. So when you're going through the ride of life, if you have one spoke that's broken or missing, it's just going to be boom, 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 boom. It's going to be kind of rocky. So recently, in my like absorption of knowledge, I've been trying to take care of all aspects of my life. And tend to all parts of the garden. So that book, I mean, I'm like 5 or 10 pages in, so I don't know if I can recommend it just yet. But other than that, I've also been reintroducing myself to reading. I definitely fell into just scrolling on my phone and growing up in that digital age. So I love to read as a kid, and I'm trying to reintroduce myself as an adult.
What would the subject matter of the podcast be if you were going to do a podcast with your dad? Had you guys talked about what the content would be?
Well, we actually recorded like hours and hours and hours of footage, and it was going to be a play on words but I don't know if I could say the title just yet. It was pretty witty though, but we figured along the way, we fell into what a lot of people fall into, where they think, you know what, we have all these interesting conversations, we should make a podcast. And then you make a podcast and you record all this footage and you wonder, okay, what's the point? What are people going to listen to this for? What's the message? What do people tune in for? And we kind of fell off that groove, and we're trying to reestablish that now. Like, why would people tune in? But we just get into all these crazy conversations. We'll talk about, like, my love of absorbing knowledge, I think, came from my mom and from him. So we'll get into anything and go for hours at it. We both just love to talk.
Oh, fun. That's really cool. All right. Well, do you have any pets, Bria?
I do. I have 2 cats. Junie B. Jones is my little baby cat, and then she's like a year old, and then Ziggy is my older cat. He's like 2.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I have 2 cats, and my little baby kitty is sick today, and she's like sneezing and coughing, and it's very, very weird. But I'm like, my baby's sick. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. She feels better soon.
I know. And this is one of those questions, like we talked about at the beginning. I always make sure I ask, because people are so very attached to their pets. And I've asked a question and somebody had lost a pet, and I was like, okay, this is either like the best question on the entire interview,
yeah.
So I only make sure I ask that question if people are like, you can ask the questions.
Yes.
Well, what's a favorite food or restaurant if you're going to go out and have a great meal?
Oh my gosh, I am a big pasta girl, and I love gnocchi. I've made it my mission to try every place with gnocchi in Cincinnati.
Nice.
So if
what have you found to be the best so far?
Well, the very first one I ever tried was at Maggiano's, and I'm actually heartbroken because they don't make it anymore. And it was like the staple gnocchi for me. There's this one I just found that's at this little kind of side Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I forget the name of it. I only went there once, but it was so good. But I'm still looking. It's a really hard pursuit, actually,
Especially in
this
Cincinnati,
city.
probably.
Right. So if anybody knows where to find that, please reach out and let me know.
There you go. I hope you get a few responses on that one.
There he is.
Well, what is your favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh, that's a great question. My favorite movie would have to be Saving Mr. Banks, which is a Disney movie, actually. And it just struck a chord with me as a kid. I remember getting really emotional at the theater. I love that movie. And my favorite show would have been Game of Thrones, controversially, until the way it ended. That last
that is on my list. It's funny because through this interview process, people that are recommending books and movies and TV shows and all the things, Game of Thrones is one that I'm like, okay, enough people have said it's so good. I have to write it down. I have to get that on my list. And there's something valuable about knowing that it's like, it's all out there, so you could binge it if you wanted, not go through the years of agony that the real fans went through.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It takes a lot of time to invest in that one, and I loved it, but it just heed with caution, like don't get too invested. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Understood. And actually my niece is like a super mega fan, and I think she said the same, and I don't know if I can do it to myself knowing that you're going to
it's the conundrum. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, do you follow sports, Bria? And if so, who's your team?
Oh man, I am very much I'll clap when other people clap, and I'm booing when they boo. I'm there for the vibes. So I couldn't say, but I'm a hometown girl. So Bengals, FC Cincinnati. I love soccer. I love international football. So like Madison, Chelsea, international that way. Nice. But that's about the extent of it. So don't ask me any more questions.
That's okay.
I just love watching it, but I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's really cool for our town too, for all of our teams to be, doing so well and having teams that make it fun to cheer for.
Right.
So that's been exciting to see.
We're doing really well
Cincinnati
too.
And the Reds and Bengals. We'll be on fire again this year. We're excited.
Yes. Yeah. We're doing great all across the board, really.
I know. It's pretty impressive. It's first time in my lifetime. That's
what I'm saying. Like I grew up here, and I think that's part of why I didn't get into sports, because I was like,
we don't have the best winning record.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let me learn something real quick.
You're kind of an outsider if you're not on the bandwagon these days.
Yeah.
Well, what about music? What's one of the best concerts that you've been to?
Oh, I think the best concert was the first concert I went to, which was Erykah Badu. I love her. I love Bag Lady. So that was great. And I think I got those tickets from my mom, and I think she won those from some company through the Apartment Association. So here we go again with the full circle. But that was really cool because it was my first time too, and I had always admired that artist. So
where did she play?
It was at was it at Fifth Third? Do they have like a concert venue there, right?
I think it's Heritage Bank Arena now.
Heritage Bank.
Yeah.
I was like 18 or 19 when I went, so I was just like, I don't know, give me the directions, I'll go.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, so with it being summer, I feel like everybody's taking vacations or on vacation. So I love asking, what's one of the best vacations or most memorable vacations that you've taken?
Oh, I think the most memorable was the trip I most recently took to Atlanta. It was my first time ever going there, and I just fell in love with that city. And I've been to a bunch of different, the major cities in the US. They're all cool. I like being at all of them. I'm always like, I could live here. But when I went to Atlanta, I was like, ooh, there's something in the air. I like it here. I like the culture. It's so diverse. There's so many different types of people. We went to Piedmont Park, and I think it was the Dogwood Festival. I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I just remember walking around in this sea of people, and there was no predominant anything. Everybody looked different. And I love that. I love the diversity. And I love just the cultures there too, the company cultures. There's a lot of different, I know North American Properties has, or North American Ventures soon to be, has a presence there too. So there's something about that city. I don't know.
I love Atlanta. We had presence there. And I was there, I think every single week for an entire year as we were like getting through this. And our National Apartment Association conference was in Atlanta this year. So I got to go back and I hadn't
Oh, I
been there
wanted to
in
go.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is an interesting city.
it is.
Well, I got two more questions for you, Bria, and I'm going to let you get back to your Friday, get back to work, and get back to the weekend. The first one is, what is a random fun fact about you that people don't know or wouldn't otherwise know if we weren't having this conversation?
Oh, that is a great question. A fun fact about me is that I was actually born during a tornado.
Really?
And it was the last tornado to touch ground in Cincinnati in
Wow.
1999.
Yes.
So I came in with a bang, and my initials are actually BAM, Bria Alexis Million. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or what, but
Dang, that is a very cool fun fact. Wow.
yeah.
Was that the one that like took out that property on Montgomery Road? Remember there? Well,
Yes.
you probably don't remember because you were a little newborn.
Well, I remember the stories. Yeah, remember I was born at Bethesda North, which my mom is terrified of storms. She was her whole life, and that like every time it rained, she's like, everybody get in the basement. But I tell her, like, you know, I came in, it was the last one. I think it'll be the last one.
There you go. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember because the last property I managed was the Orchard of Landon, so very close to Bethesda. And again, I forget the name of that community, but they tore down and rebuilt it because of the tornado. So wow. All right. Well, last question, and I'll let you get back to your day. How do you think the folks that have worked with you in your career in this industry so far, how would they describe you as a leader or coworker?
It's crazy you said that because we just had our annual reviews. People generally describe me as very compassionate. I am a team player, but I'm also a leader. So I will lead conversations and encourage different perspectives. I want to hear from everybody, and I want to make sure everybody hears everybody else too. I love pumping up people. Like if everybody's kind of down in the office, I'll be the one coming up like, hey, everybody, how's the day going? How can we make it better in here? Make you forget for just a second. And I love making people laugh too. So I'm always giggling about something.
Oh, well, you sound like the positive vibe that every office needs.
Gotta be. Yeah.
I love it. Well, it has been such a pleasure getting to know you, and I just cannot believe how like connected I
say something.
feel because I know, and I can't wait to go see Sandy at the Red in a few weeks. I'm there usually every other week. For
tell her that we talked today.
She's there when I'm there. Yeah. Well, do you have any fun plans for the weekend?
Not yet. I gotta catch up on some sleep. Oh man, it's gonna be that short. Like the holiday weekend really, you know how it goes.
Same. So, yes. I'm hoping to do absolutely nothing tomorrow.
Hopefully. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I hope you get some good rest in.
Yeah, you too. Have a really great weekend. Thank you again for participating and coordinating and getting all this done. I'll let you know when we air this interview. And thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Have a great one.